Hello there, folks, and welcome to War Thunder. I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're like, what? This isn't a space game. You always play space games. Well, not strictly true. I actually played War Thunder on this channel before I ever even played Star Citizen or Space Engineers. But don't worry, unless you guys really want me to play more War Thunder, I'm probably not going to be making any more videos on it. But this video is going to be explaining kind of what War Thunder is. And if you didn't catch my last video, that was kind of explaining why I'm doing this video in the first place. So what is War Thunder? It's a free-to-play freemium game, which is, you know, a game where you can spend real money if you want to. You don't have to, and in fact, for the first like 2 years that I played this game, I never spent a dime on it. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'll throw the developers a couple bucks because it's a good game. And the freemium currency is what's called Golden Eagles. And what you use for Golden Eagles is you can upgrade your crew a little bit faster, you can research a little bit faster, and you can buy credits with it a little bit faster. So that's it. You can't buy like tactical nukes and shoot nukes out of your cannons, or you can't shoot or drop nuclear warheads out of your aircraft. Speaking of which, yes, there are aircraft in this game. In fact, that's the mainstay of this game, are the aircraft. There's all sorts of different aircraft you can choose. That's just the American line. This is the German line, and it has all of the nations here. We have the Americans, Germans, Russians, the good old British, and we have the Japanese. No tanks for the Japanese, British yet, which is kind of a shame. The British had a bunch of really good tanks, but I'm sure they'll be put into the game eventually. So, this is obviously, as you can tell, it's a World War II themed game, and what we're going to be doing this particular video is we're going to be taking a look at a game that I played in the Lee. And if you just want to skip to the violent bits, I'm going to put an annotation somewhere in here so you can just click the annotation and go straight to the violent bits where we are playing the game itself. And in the meantime, we're actually going to explain a little bit about the game and this tank itself, because there is a lot of information to know about the tank and how to drive your tanks and so on and so forth. The same thing goes for the aircraft. And the particular tank battle that we did was what's called a Super Simulation Events Tournament thing. It's a simulation mode where you don't have a heads-up display, you're stuck in the commander view, and you have to use your Mark I eyeball for everything. And it's actually really a whole bunch of fun. So the tank that we drove in that particular match is this archaic, odd-looking thing. It's the M3 Lee. It was designed in 1940, and it first went into production in 1941. And it was a response to the Germans in Africa, how they were beating back the British and the American tanks, and they were doing quite the number on them, and we needed something to combat them, and we needed something quick. So this is what they whipped up. I think it was produced by the Daimler Chrysler Group, or the Chrysler Group. I think that's where they were manufactured anyhow. I don't think it was Daimler at the time. I think it was just the Chrysler manufacturing group made these, and it was a very odd looking thing. It had like a sponson, that's what this is called, which you would find mostly on World War I era tanks. However, it did have a turret with a 37mm cannon, and this is a 75mm anti-tank cannon right there. So if you manage to hit something with that, it was a lot better than the 37mm pop gun that the rest of the American tanks were using at the time. Also, it had a little bit of sloped armor and heavier armor to deal with the German tanks, and mostly what the Lee had to deal with were Panzer IIs, Panzer 38s, Panzer IIIs with the 37mm and the short-barreled 50mm gun, and also the Panzer IVs with the short, stubby 75mm gun, and the short, stubby 75mm gun on the Stug tank destroyer. Well, it's not technically a tank destroyer. It's an assault gun, as they call it. And if we look at the little information card, you'll see a whole bunch of different things on it. There's what's called the hull armor, turret armor, armor penetration at distance, reload rate, presets, and all different sources of information that tell you different things about your tank. The armor penetration on most of these tanks are usually less than 50. Well, the 50mm anti-tank gun on the Panzer III has about 58mm of penetration at 100 meters. So if we take a look at the Lee here, let's close this, we can go into the armor viewer and see how effective the armor is against, say, 58mm of penetration. So we're going to go into the customization screen, show armor. And this is a neat little view where you can see the effective armor. So as you see, the thickness is only 38mm, but say the tank is coming in at this angle, the effective thickness is actually around 55mm, and that's at point blank range. So if you're 100 meters out, as you see, the more you zoom out, the more the armor effective thickness is. And you have right up here, the thickness is to the point where the 50mm shell would have a hard time penetrating. Also, if I didn't say, annotation in the description if you want to skip to the violent bits where we actually drive this tank. Alright, and you can just see all around the 50mm shell actually could penetrate most of this tank except for the turret, where the effective thickness is somewhere in the 80mm range, so you're going to have a really hard time penetrating this tank, especially if it's at an angle like this when you are driving the Germans. Like 60mm of 70mm of penetration, so you'd probably want to shoot it this side. And even then you would have a hard time penetrating the tank and doing damage. And speaking of damage, you can show the X-ray. When you shoot your little tank shell, it'll come in here if it actually penetrates. Sometimes if it over-penetrates, it'll just go right out the other side. And other times it'll explode in the inside and do damage to all these different modules, which we have the driver, optics, all these different things. So we have two guns here. You have your 75mm, your 37mm, cannon breech, which is for reloading, and the cannon barrel itself, if that's damaged, good luck trying to shoot. You have your ammo. If they manage to shoot your ammo, goodbye tank. It will explode. You will get ammo racked. And when these things get damaged, it actually makes your tank drive differently and things like that. Also, this has a radial aircraft engine in it, which is kind of an interesting thing. But this is a pretty good, what is effectively a heavy tank at the earlier tiers. And in the game, we actually did fairly well. It was in a simulator battle, like I said before. And I think we're going to be taking a look at that now. So thank you folks for putting up with the analysis of this tank. So we'll see you guys on the battlefield. Alright, here we are in the battle. And as you see, we are driving our Lee. One of the things I like to do in these simulator battles is put an insignia on your tank as to which side it belongs to, because unlike in this replay, there are no little blue bars over here. Oh, I'm gonna crash into this guy. Oh, yeah. I didn't see him because you don't get a third-person view like this when you're in the simulator battles. As you see, I'm turning my turret, and that's me looking around. So if we actually go to the camera view, this is what I'm actually seeing when I'm playing the game, except for the fact that you don't actually see the little blue markers over friendly people, which is why I like to put insignias on the tank, because then if people see the insignia and it's the correct team, then you know, hey, don't shoot me. And if you see somebody with the enemy insignia on, generally speaking, that's an enemy, so you're pretty safe to shoot at them, because it can be quite difficult at times determining who is an enemy and who is a friend. Right now, we have been communicating in chat saying I was going to go defend our capture point, which is capture point A, because the enemy probably wants to go capture it. Or at least that was my thought. And a couple of friendlies here, the guy in the Stuart over there was coming to help me. There's a guy in an aircraft flying around. And right in here is the killing field, generally speaking, where the enemy tanks will be. But for some reason, all of the enemy tanks tried to go capture or tried to go defend B rather than capture A. And if you're unfamiliar with this, this is kind of like a rush map on Battlefield, where if you capture one point, then you have to go capture another point, and then it's further down the map closer to enemy spawn. And right here you see I'm in the sniper cam. I'm trying to shoot down this tree because I think there's somebody behind here, so I'm using my coaxial machine guns to try to shoot down the tree, but it didn't really want to fall, so actually, nope, never mind. It's slowly sinking into the earth. And as you see, I spot what appears to be a martyr over there. I take a couple of shots at him, and I was making some ranging shots with my 37mm cannon. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to distance. And here you see the distance in meters. You have 200 meters, 400 meters, 600 meters, 800 meters. I'm trying to figure out where they are, and I'm actually hitting them. It's kind of hard to see. I'm doing a little bit of damage to them. Oh, as you see, that shot actually hit the ground and ricocheted off. And I'm actually doing quite a bit of damage to these guys because they're showing me the side of their tank. Even this tiny 37mm pop gun can easily penetrate the side of a Panzer II or a Marder. I think that's actually a Panzer III over there with the anti-tank or 50mm anti-tank gun. Could be. And as you see, somebody over there shot and kicked up a whole bunch of dust. I keep on putting shots into this guy. Well, our team actually managed to capture the point over here and have pushed back to point B. And the enemy is vigorously defending. And as you saw, there was another muzzle flash over there. Right now I'm kind of fixated on this guy, and I can't really see what's behind there. But then I noticed there's some cannon flashes coming in that direction, and I'm trying to range right now, figure out what's there, and it actually appears, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually a Marder tank. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Well, not really. And as you can see, I'm shooting a little bit low, and the shots are ricocheting off. In this match, I actually do quite well. I think I managed to kill 3 tanks in this simulator mode. And for some bizarre reason, nobody's really spotted me yet. They will take some shots at me later in the game. Yep, and there you can see he's pulling back because I hit him. Oop, that was a direct hit on the Marder. But the Marder does have decent frontal armor, and that's all he's showing right now. However, I think I was able to penetrate with a couple of shots. And there you saw, I tried to fire my 75mm gun, but it just bounced because it has different gun depression and different firing arcs than the 37mm, which is what we were using. Alright, I decided enough is enough. We're actually doing fairly well, so I decided to push up to the next cap point, or at least I try to. However, I want to get a flank on them first. So I decided to take cover behind these rocks, because I still think the Marder is back there. I didn't take out the Marder, and it looks like we have a BT-7 going full speed. Godspeed, because you're going to need it, especially going through that killing field. I think I'm typing in chat that I saw a Marder over there in what I believe is B5 or B6. And let's see, does it actually show up in chat? I don't believe that it does. Oh, yep. It does. Well, that's the chat messages, but they don't actually show you what we're typing to each other. And one thing about the Lee is it has fairly terrible gun depression. Oop, yep, there's a shot. Came over there, probably from the same Marder. And the BT-7 looks like he's firing on him as well. I'm looking, oh, where'd he go? He's actually right there. And there are more enemies in this general vicinity. I saw more shots coming from there, and I didn't know from where exactly, but the muzzle flashes, like that muzzle flash right there, gives it away, so I know that this is the direction that I need to be going if I want to engage the enemy. Right now, we really can't see what our team is doing, but that's kind of the way it would have been in World War II. You didn't really have maps that updated on command, so we were communicating through chat to coordinate our attacks. There were people coming in from the E6 and E7 area moving forward, mostly in light tanks. And oh, there's a guy showing me the side of his tank, and I'm like, ooh, I gotta have him. And that guy's shooting at me. Shot a little bit low. Looks like we got hit, but it just bounced off. It doesn't look like it did too much damage. In fact, yep, our crew and everything is just fine. There's no red or colored anything, so that shot managed to bounce off because we were only showing the front of our tank to the enemy. As you can see right here, there is a friendly tank. I didn't even know that was a friendly tank at the time over there in that direction, so we are putting the pincer movement on the Germans here quite effectively. I keep on putting shots into this tank here because I immobilized him, and I actually managed to take him out. So there we go, Airbuster has received a one-shot kill. And I shoot down a couple of trees here because I want to see what's there. And oops! I didn't know at the time that that was my friend because he charged forward a little bit too quick, and I took a shot at his rear because the rear of a Stuart tank kind of looks like the rear of a Panzer II. But once I realized that was a Lee, I quickly make amends, and luckily I didn't take him out. Luckily, I think the shell passed through his engine compartment without doing any damage, which was, quite frankly, amazing. I see a bunch of gunshots coming from this direction, so, ooh, would you look at that? That's a BF-110. Looks like he's taking some damage, so I'm shooting at him with the turret on top. I think I score maybe like a hit or so, but that's about it. And yes, that is a player-controlled BF-110 who's been bombing the Allies. And this is a risky move here. I go up on top of this ridge line, and oop, there is a flak panzer over there that's shooting at our aircraft, so I'm like, oop, I gotta have him, and I managed to range him with the first shot and just continue to pump in a couple until he has been eliminated. And there we go, Shadow Streak ×3, which means I've been able to kill 3 tanks without taking any damage myself. I did, however, take a shot, but it bounced clean off. And our team is now moving up from D6 and D7, and we are pushing the enemy back to B6, B7, and even before that, and I think this is one of the last enemy tanks. I managed to put one directly into his side, killing quite a few of his crew. That one bounces right off of the gun mantlet there. That one did too, so I decided to put one through the thinner armor down here rather than the thicker armor up top. And I just pepper him everywhere with the 37mm. 37mm cannon reloads quite quick. I could have been using the 75, but the 75 has a long reload, and whenever you shoot it, it makes the whole tank rock backwards and forwards, which makes aiming very, very hard. And I think this is the last tank. I managed to put one into his side, and there you see I shot the 75mm. It doesn't even do anything because it has a different firing trajectory. And let's go back to first person. I want to see where I took my hit. Maybe it bounced off right there. That could be it. And right now I'm just shooting trees. But right here, I'm just making sure that guy's dead because there's no kill message saying that you killed him. So I was just pumping shots into him. And here we go. The BT-7 actually managed to survive. So here we are. We're going to capture the last capture point, which is this little white circle here. And I think that's going to be game. It was a pretty intense game. Got quite a few shots in, only took a couple. And there is a Ju-87 flying around. I think that's a Ju-87. So I'm trying to shoot him with my machine gun. Nah, to no avail. But we got this game in the bag. As you can see, we're capturing the final capture point. I think he makes a strafing run on us at the last moment. But there's really nothing the enemy can do because I think that Stuka there is the last remaining survivor on the enemy team. And then it's just about it. Oh, I spoke too soon. There's one last guy right there. Let's go back into first person mode. And there we go. We just keep on putting shots into the side of this Panzer IV. I believe that's a Panzer IV. Can't tell through the smoke. Yep. I believe I was just putting him through the back of the turret. I didn't get the kill for it, but I got an assist. Because there were many people shooting at him. And yep, there goes the Stuka that was shooting at us. And we got the capture point. Yep, and there goes the Stuka flying off in the distance. Not much I can do, but we managed to win that game fairly handily through copious amounts of teamwork. And I think the enemy kind of sucked too. But yeah, there you go. That has been a short little intro into what War Thunder is and what it can be. I actually didn't do that well compared to some people. I managed to get 3 kills, 2 assists, didn't die at all, which was nice. Somebody got 6 kills, 1 assist, but they did die 2 times, so they're probably playing quite aggressively. Some people on the enemy team did quite well. 4 kills, 1 kill, 2 kills, 2 kills. So, yeah, that has been it for War Thunder. If you guys want to see more, yeah, sure, I'll make more. If you guys don't want to see more, don't worry. I probably won't put out any more. So thank you folks for watching War Thunder, and I will see you folks back in space, engineers.